In number 16, we're going to start by moving these powers with negative exponents. All right, so we'll bring this x to the minus 5 on top as x to the 5. And bring this x to the minus 7 to the denominator as x to the 7. And now we can divide top and bottom by 2. And we can subtract these exponents, 7 minus 5. So that leaves us with x to the second in the denominator. So we have 2 in the numerator and minus x squared in the denominator. We can write this also as minus 2 over x squared. In number 17, we're asked to evaluate this expression with x equal minus 3 and y equal 2. So we'll substitute in. I'm going to write parentheses for x and y. And do the substituting. Minus 3 for x and 2 for y. So we have minus 15 in the numerator. And here we have a minus 6, minus 2. So that's minus 15 over minus 8, which is the same as 15 over 8. Number 18, we're subtracting polynomials. Okay, so we're going to open up those parentheses. So we have 4x cubed y squared minus 3x squared y cubed. And now we have minus 7x squared y cubed and minus again x cubed y squared. And now we're going to combine like terms. So here we have x cubed y squared, and here's another x cubed y squared. So subtract 4 minus 1, so we have 3x cubed y squared. And then we have x squared y cubed here, and another x squared y cubed, so that's minus 3 and minus 7. That's minus 10 x squared y cubed. In number 19, we're going to multiply through this monomial times this polynomial using the distributive law. So first we'll do minus 3x to the 4th y to the 7th times the first term, and then the second term. So let's do that. Okay, first we have a minus 6, x to the 4 plus 5, that's x to the 9, and y to the 7 plus 1, that's y to the 8. Then we have minus 3 times minus 4, so that's plus 12. And then multiply the powers of x, that'll be x to the 5th. And the powers of y, y to the 7th times y to the 6th, that's y to the 7 plus 6, or y to the 13. Okay, number 20, we're going to multiply. All right, so we'll start by multiplying 3x times 2x squared minus 5x plus 7. And then we'll do the minus 2. Okay, so first 3x times 2x squared, so that'll be 6. 3 times 2 is 6, x cubed. And then 3x times minus 5x, that's minus 15x squared. 3x times 7, that's plus 21x. And next we're going to multiply by minus 2, so that's minus 4x squared, and we'll line that up underneath the other x squared term. And then we have minus 2 times minus 5, so that's plus 10x, and line that up. And minus 2 times 7, that's minus 14. And then we'll add the like terms So here we have minus 19x squared. And here we have plus 31x minus 14. In number 21, we're going to open up this set of parentheses. All right, so we're multiplying 2x plus 5 times itself. So this is a FOIL multiplication. So first we do 2x times 2x, we have 4x squared. And then the outer 2x times 5, that's 10x. 5 times 2x, that's 10x again. And 5 times 5, that's 25. All right, so just combine those two like terms, 10x and 10x. And we have 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. Number 22 is a division. So let's write that as a long division, x minus 2 divided into 3x squared minus 5x plus 7. So we start with x and divide x into 3x squared. That's 3x squared divided by x, that's 3x. Then we multiply 3x times the entire x minus 2 and write that underneath. So we have 3x times x, that's 3x squared. And 3x times minus 2, that's minus 6x. So notice the leading terms are the same when we subtract. So these first terms should always be the same. So now we subtract, and in order to subtract, what we're going to do is change the signs and add. That's the same as subtraction. So these terms cancel, and here we have minus 5x plus 6x, that's a plus x. And now we bring down the plus 7. And now we do the division again, x divided into x, that's 1, plus 1. Now multiply 1 times x minus 2, that's x minus 2. And once again we're subtracting, which is the same as changing the signs and adding. These cancel, and here we have 9. And that's our remainder. So we write as our answer, we write 3x plus 1, remainder 9. In number 23, we have another division. So we have x minus 3 divided into x cubed minus 27. Now x cubed is a third degree, and we have to, it's missing an x squared term and an x term, so we're going to put that in. Alright, so for x squared, we'll put in 0 times x squared. And for the x term, we have 0 times x. And now we can start our division. So we start with x. X divided into x cubed is x squared. Now multiply x squared times the entire x minus 3. So we have x cubed minus 3x squared. That goes here. Now we subtract, which is the same as changing these signs and adding. These two cancel, and here we have 0 plus 3, we have 3x squared. Now bring down the 0 times x. And now we divide x into 3x squared, that's plus 3x. And now multiply 3x times x is 3x squared. And 3x times minus 3, that's minus 9x. Now change these signs and add. Here we get just 9x. and bring down the minus 27. X goes into 9x plus 9 times. And now multiply 9 times x minus 3, that's 9x minus 27. So here we have a remainder of 0. Okay, so the answer is exactly x squared plus 3x plus 9 with no remainder. Number 24, we have a FOIL multiplication. So we'll start with the first times the first, 7x times 3x, that's 21x squared. And now the outer, 7x times 5, that's plus 35x. Then we have minus 12x. And then the last, that's minus 20. And just add those middle terms. 35 minus 12. Okay, so we have 35 minus 12, so that's 23x minus 20. In number 25, we're going to factor. So we're going to pull out a common factor. Okay, so we have from 12 and 8, we have a common factor of 6. And from x to the 5th and x cubed, we have a common factor of x cubed. And then we have y7, y8. We can pull out y to the 7. All right, so that's the greatest common factor. And let's see what we're left with. So when we pull out 6 from 12, we're left with 2. And we pull out x cubed from x to the 5th, we're left with x squared. We pull out y7, the entire y7, and then we still have a z here. Now we pull out from 18, we pull out factor 6, we're left with factor 3. We pull out the entire x cubed. From x to the 8, we pull out y7, and we're left with y. Okay, so that's factored. In number 26, we're factoring a quadratic. So we're going to use what we call reverse FOIL. Let's put down our 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, now 3x squared can be factored as 3x times x, so that goes here. 3x times x will give us this x squared. And now here we have to put 2 things that multiply to minus 8. Well, one, since we have a negative c value, the signs are going to be different. So we'll start off with a plus and a minus, different signs. And here we have to put 2 things that multiply to 8. And the middle terms have to add to 2x. All right, so for 8, let's say we can have 4 times 2. Now let's check the middle term there. So here we have a 4x. Okay, the outer plus inner. The outer is minus 6x. Okay, so the outer plus inner add to minus 2x. Now that is the opposite of the middle term, the opposite sign. So we have to switch the signs. So we'll do that making this minus and this plus. So our factorization is 3x minus 4, x plus 2. In number 27, we're going to start by pulling out the common factor of x. So let's do that. So we have x times x squared minus 4. Now this can be factored further. We have a difference of 2 squares here. So we have x plus 2 times x minus 2. Number 28, again, we have a common factor here. So we have, in the coefficients, we have a common factor of 3. And then we have a common factor of x and y. So we factor out 3xy. All right, we factor out from the first term, we're left with x squared. And from the second term, well, we're left with a coefficient of 9. And we factored out the x and the y. So we have 3xy times x squared minus 9. Now this is a difference of 2 squares, so let's factor that further. This is x plus 3x minus 3. And that's the complete factorization. Okay, number 29, we have 2 terms subtracted. We have a difference of 2 terms, and they are both perfect squares because 25 and 49 are both perfect squares, and these exponents are even. So each term is a perfect square, so we have a difference of 2 squares. All right, so we'll factor this like a difference of 2 squares. Well, let's first write it as a difference of 2 squares. Okay, let's do that over here. So 25, that's 5 squared, and x to the 6, the square root of x to the 6 is x cubed. Just take half of that exponent. Half of 6 is 3. So that first term is 5x cubed, and the second term, well, the square root of 49 is 7, and the square root of y to the 100, take half the exponent, that's y to the 50th. So now it's squared. So now we have a difference of 2 squares, and we just put what's in the parentheses here, 5x cubed plus 7y to the 50. And over here with a subtraction symbol in between, 5x cubed minus 7y to the 50. Okay, so that's factored. In 30, we have a quadratic, so we're going to do we're going to do reverse FOIL. All right, so first we have to multiply. We have to find 2 terms that multiply to 6x squared. So that can be 3x times 2x or 6x times x. All right, let's say we first try 3x times 2x. And here we need 2 things that multiply to 4. Well, no matter what we put, I don't think we're going to get the 23x there as a middle term. Even if we put a 4 here and we have a 12 and a 1 here, one has to be positive, one has to be negative, we're not going to add up to 23x. Here the middle term does not reach 23x. So I think we're going to have to try a 6x and an x. And remember, since c is negative, the signs are going to be different. Now here we need 2 things that multiply to 4. Okay, so, and we need 23 in the middle. So if we put a 4 here, we're going to get minus 24x, and a 1 here. Okay, let's do the middle term now, and check our middle term, and we have x minus 24x. The sum is minus 23x. Now we want plus 23x in the middle, so we're going to have to switch signs. In other words, make this subtraction and make this addition. So our factorization is 6x minus 1, x plus 4.